What's going down, everybody? Brother Stavanis here, Command Center Wargaming. So in this video, we're going to be doing a armored breakthrough list for the Horus Heresy, right? So it's basically a list that I've done based off a lot of your feedback, a lot of your questions. We've got a lot of questions asking, you know, can you do up a list, Steve, a Dreadnought, an armor list? One was specifically for Will, for the Alpha Legion. I'm doing that, but I'm thinking, while I'm doing that, I might as well do a general list for us all. So this list is going to be pretty, not OP, but it's pretty strong. So just, if you're going to use it, warn people before you do it, okay? This is an armored list. It's a 3,000 point armored list that you can use in Age of Darkness games. All right, I call it the Friend Killer. We'll call it the Stevanius Lee list, armored breakthrough list, because Matt helped me to make it, so it's not all my work, but this one's for you guys. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so first of all, the application of the list. So used for Legion Astartes. The points is 3k points, which is not uncommon in Age of Darkness games in the Horus Heresy. Now that can be scaled back down to 2k or 2.5k. It's up to you, but this slide will demonstrate a 2k list, right? Game mode, AOD, Age of Darkness. Okay, you obviously can't play it in Centurion because it's just an armor full list. Okay, all right. So it's stronger with armor forces, right? You're gonna do better with Iron Hands, fire-based legions, Iron Warriors, perhaps, you know, firing las cannons off for the back line, things like that. However, I want to emphasize that this list can be used for any of the legions, even White Scars. Because at this point in time, we will be doing Legion specific lists, but this is just a general Astartes list, and it basically means that White Scars can take all this and then they can shoot from across the board, they can use armor, etc. So it doesn't matter who you play, you can use this list. Legions with little to no infantry, it's a bit of a that guy list. So just warn your opponents before you start using this list against them in the spirit of the game. It's called the Friend Destroyer for a reason. It's borderline OP, if not filthy, and you'll come to see what I mean in a few minutes. So to start the list off, we're going to be using the Armoured Spearhead Rite of War. Okay, now what this means is the Armoured Spearhead Rite of War. It's found in the Legion Astartes, the Liber books and the Hereticus books. So essentially, the first thing is that all units may take rhinos as dedicated transports instead of land raiders. You can also take land raider Proteuses. You can also take land raiders themselves, right? So as long as they are troops more than 10 models per squad. Okay, so the Proteus, as we're going to see later on, because we're going to have quite a few of those, the carrier can actually support 12 troops, and that's how we're going to get our command squads into the list of things. Well, not command squads, but our independent characters into the squads. So Predators may be troops, which is awesome. Sakaran squadrons may also be elites, which is awesome, crazy. And you can have one Predator or one Sakaran model squadron, and it must be a Warlord, and it must have the Master of Armor trait. All right. Now, you can't take Venatars, you can't take Arcus as the Warlord, all right, because it specifically says Sakaran squadrons, and in the book, it's missing that keyword, Sakaran Venatar. It just says Sakaran squadrons, and Sakaran squadrons is just the main battle tank. So just to keep that in mind, okay? But it's still really, really epic, okay? Now, the limitations of the Rite of War is that all the infantry must be in transports. So in our case, we're going to use Proteuses. All right. You cannot use fortifications. All right. And you can only use this Rite of War for a primary detachment. So you can't use it for an allied detachment. Okay. Now, also, no units are allowed with 0 movement or dash movement, which is 0. Okay. So that's the Rite of War we need to use. It's the Armoured Spearhead to start our list off. The list won't work without this. You must have it, okay? Now, the Warlord trait. Okay, so the Master of Armor. This is now given to a tank, all right? So you're going to select a Predator as your HQ or a Sakaran battle tank as your HQ, and that tank gets the Master of the Legion key phrase, which basically means that you can run a Rite of War in your army, because you must have Master of Legions keywords in there to be able to run a Rite of War, otherwise you can't run it. Okay, plus your Predator or your Sakaran is going to gain a 5+ invulnerable save and a +1 ballistic skill. So your tank is going up to a ballistic skill 5. Okay, so which means the most part is going to be hitting on 2s. All right, which is amazing. Okay, so the limitations to this Warlord trait: you can't have command squads, you can't have them in a retinue. Okay, so for example, you can't have, like, you know, banner bearers and that attached to this unit. It's just a piece of armor, it's a tank, and that's all it is. Okay, so for our HQ list, the first thing on our list, our HQ choice, I'm going to be taking a Sakaran battle tank. Now, you can take a Predator if you want, but my methodology is, well, Sakarans are improved on the stat board. They're a little bit more expensive, yes, but they're just better across the board. And why not take advantage of that? They're also very, very fast as well. Okay, so, you know, it just makes sense to have your Warlord the strongest unit that you can, the fastest unit you can, the most armed unit you can. Okay, so we'll take a Sakaran battle tank, 190 points, so hitting on 2s. We're going to upgrade that with 2 las cannons, which is 10 points, because we're hitting on 2s, lest I say more. Okay, we're going to take a maximum we're basically going to take a advantage of that maximum 1+ BS skill throughout the board on this tank. Okay, now the other reason I chose the Sakaran battle tank over the Predator, which is because the Sakarans actually have 4 hit points now. They used to have 3 in Horus Heresy version 1, but they actually have 4 now. You know what? The Predator might actually have 4 hull points as well. I could look that up, but you know what? We're just going to go with Sakaran because of the movement. So that's it. Let me know in the comments down below. So we're going to also take a mounted hunter-killer missile for 5 points. All right, the reason is because we've got that bonus to the ballistic skill. We want to be using it. It's only 5 points, and it is a Warlord. Okay, we're also going to take a pintle mounted multi-melter for 20 points. Why not? Kit it out. You've also got your 5+ invul. So again, it just makes sense to pimp this tank up as much as we can. Okay, you could put a searchlight on it, optional if you want. You might as well, because I think at the end of this list we have about 10 points to spare. So you could add that on if you want as well. So the total unit value of your HQ is 225 points, right? So you're not getting a Praetor. Okay, you're getting a battle tank. Okay, so that's awesome. You got movement 16 with a 5+ invul. You know, keep him at range the best you can. Use your speed. Do a lot of kiting, things like that. It's awesome. You're going to do a lot of damage with this guy. All right. The next one, the second HQ choice for this army, is a Legion Cataphractii Centurion with the subtype Forge Lord. Now, very important, at the end of this video, you'll see that I add some apocryphs in the end, and I go to assign them to squads to then put them in my Land Raider Proteuses. Now, when this guy's in Cataphractii, that squad in the Proteus is going to take up 12-man unit spaces in the Proteus, because the Proteus character can carry 12 units. The Cataphractii counts as 2 bodies, right? But if you want to put the apocryphy later, attach it to this squad, which you probably should, then just keep the Cataphractii armor of this guy, just run him as Artificer or something like that, okay? Give him a Cyber Familiar anyway, right? And you're going to get an invul save from it and things like that. But you'll see, if you do run Cataphractii, you're going to get a +3 invul on this HQ. Okay, so we're going to run him. So the Forge Lord, all right, so we want to keep him as base as possible, but you can add a Thunder Hammer on him. But the main point of this guy is essentially to sit there repairing your tanks, all right? Now, he has Battlesmith on a 4-up, so all the 100 tanks in this list, okay, not quite 100, but there's a lot, you can literally drive them back to this guy or just have him in a strategic location. So on a 4-up, he's going to be healing hull points off him. So it's crazy. He also comes with other stuff for Automata and Phalanxes, but, you know, it doesn't really apply to this list. So we'll do a deep dive on this unit later. We'll cover it there. Matt was saying we should also do a Sakaran Arcus versus Deredeo video, which would be really cool because we were debating which one to put in this list, and then I decided, hey, let's put both in. But anyway, we'll do that later. So it's very important. You can put this guy in the list because the rules as written says that you must select a Predator or Sakaran as a HQ choice. It does not say, as rules written at the moment, that Sakaran or Predator has to be your only HQ choice. Now, once again, until that gets FAQ'd, just like the Legantine Axes not being unwieldy, until that gets FAQ'd, it's rules as written, so it's legal. Okay, so you can totally take this HQ in your force, all right, and in a force of 2,000 points if you want to fit him in. Okay, so yeah, he's 155 points. Okay, assign him to the tactical squad in the Proteus. Chuck him in there with the Apocryphy with a power sword if you can. Okay, so those are our two HQ choices at the moment. Okay, so troops. All right, now here we go. Okay, so the first set of troop choices, we have 3 10-man tactical marines, just with straight bolters, a sergeant with power fists, artificer armor, okay? Power fist because you just want to land these guys on objectives, you want to deploy them on there, okay? And you've got a power fist in there just in case you come across a dreadnought or something and you need to punch through a tank, all right? But generally, the sole purpose of these tactical marines, this 3-man unit, is simply because they have line and you need them to score, okay? Because even though your Predators, which you'll see in a second, are also troops, they don't have scoring, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, you can give them chain bayonets if you want, but it's optional here. I probably wouldn't bother because they're literally just bodies on the field that you're going to use to score, but you can do it. Also, you can also put the other bayonets on them. I just listed chain bayonets twice, but that's cool. They're just the normal bayonets. But once again, it's optional. You can also give the sergeant a Volkite if you want. But once again, if you have the points, go for it. But I probably would give that a miss at this point. Just keep them bare bones for now. And you'll see why, because you don't need them. You've got enough anti-infantry firepower other places. So 3 10-man tacticals. Okay, you want to kiss, right? Keep it simple and stupid, all right? And remember, Fury of the Legion. That's where you want to be cutting sick with these guys, okay? And you want to use your Land Raider Proteuses, your dedicated transports, to harass the other player and to also give them backup. And if they're left alone, then drive your Proteus off. So you've basically got, for each squad, you've got a mobile support unit, heavy support unit, with armor 14 all around and like 6 las cannon shots, if you include the twin linked, okay? So yeah, as dedicated transports, we're going to do a Land Raider Proteus carrier, legal from the Rite of War, because it says, remember, that you can use them, okay? And you're going to have that at 720 points, a lot of points, but you've essentially got a free 3 heavy support units in your troops without even touching heavy support. In addition, the next one, you are going to have 1 Predator battle tank squadron with 4 Predators in there as troops. Each tank will come with a Predator autocannon, okay, or battle cannon, excuse me, and you are going to put 2 sponsored Volkite culverins on each of those tanks, which is gonna make them anti-infantry. 4 of those guys, that's 5 shots of culverin. Okay, you're looking at 40 shots from across the table. All right, before they can even reach you, you are gonna be massacring their infantry. Okay, this list is just off the chart. Okay, all right, it does have a weakness, and I'll explain it at the end. Okay, but it does have a weakness. Okay, so yeah, and once again, you'll need your tacticals for lines. All right, so at the moment, we have not even touched the elite choices or the heavy support choices or the Lords of War choices, okay? We are currently at 1,950 points. We have a Sakaran battle tank with ballistic skill 5 and a 5-up invul, which is a mid to long range aggressor. We have 4 predators with battle cannons and culverins deflagging long range all day, every day. We have 3 land raider Proteuses with extra las cannons, long range, plus troop transport, armor 14 all around, okay, and whatever else you want to kit it out with, okay, and we're still under 2,000 points. You can lock that off right there. There is a 2,000 point list for you right there. Now, if you are going to do the 2,000 point list variant, okay, maybe just ditch one of the predators. All right, so just take 3 predators instead of 4 in the squadron, and switch it out with a Deredeo. Okay, and make sure you put some anti-air in there. Okay, just run it stock with the anti-air missile pack and the Anvilus autocannon batteries, which are awesome. Deredeos, for me, they're an auto include. All right, so right there, that's 2k points, everybody. Slam dunk. All right. So now, what can we do from here? Well, you can do a crap ton from here. You can literally choose any direction. What are you going to do with the remaining 1,100 odd points or 1,050 points? Okay, so you could go in, you could try to smash in a Sakaran battle tank squadron in the elite slots, basically adding another 9 tanks if you really wanted to add the points, because you can have 3 elite slots, you can have 2 Sakaran battle tanks per elite slot. You'd probably have to take the Apocryphy out, but you can do that if you really wanted to. If you really wanted to be, if there was someone you didn't like, you could totally do that, and it's completely legal. Okay, you can add a crap ton of elite contemptors to the elite slots. You can spam turning it into a dreadnought armor list, which I will be doing another one, and another one specifically to the Alpha Legion as well, as by requested by Will. Okay, you could spam bikes to those points, skimmers, add more mobility to the army, whatever it is you want to do. Okay, you can add Leviathans in the heavy support slots instead if you're going up against a Primarch, okay, or you just want to wreck face close quarters, okay, with some dreads, okay, or use them as distractions. All right, you can add super heavies, fell blades, glaives, etc. Add a Terminator Spartan, go to town with it, okay? Add some Legion Terminators, pack them in with Spartan. You're still probably going to have a couple of points left over. So you have a lot of options at this point. So that 2k baseline is just a baseline. You can now choose to just segue off and go any direction with this list that you want, okay? But for what I'm going to do for the rest of this list, I'm going to go with heavy support fillings, okay? All right, so Legion heavy support to add on to that in a 3,000 point list. You can see that's actually my Venator, by the way, not the Arcus. That was Giuseppe. I think it's on the Forward World page. This is my Venator, my Alpha Legion one. Love this tank, my favorite tank in the whole game. All right, so heavy support. With the remaining points, we're going to run a Deredeo Dreadnought for anti-air support with Anvilus autocannons, Boreas air defense missiles, and heavy bolters. It's a stock loadout for 205 points. You can kit it up if you want. You can add more stuff to it if you want. Okay, but just keep it there. The Deredeo is going to give you anti-air. You're going to be able to do reaction fire, intercepting on flyers as long as it doesn't move. The AA missiles are primed to knock down air targets. It's one of your biggest vulnerabilities here, air targets. Okay, but you can also, if your opponent doesn't have any anti-air, you can also switch those over on snapshots. You can hit ground targets with them, right? So it's all good. You might not completely waste them. That thing is shooting across the board as well. Lovely unit, Deredeo. Always take a Deredeo. Used to be always take a Contemptor. Now it's always take a Deredeo. Contemptors are still top though. All right. So the next one, I want you to take a 2-unit Sakaran Venator squadron. Take 2 las cannons for each and a pintle mount for range. Okay. Now all these pintle mounts and weapons, they are there to help negate weapon destroyed situations, right? So the idea is just take a cheap pintle mounted weapon. All right, when you get hit with it, if you get a weapon destroyed result, okay, there's less chance that you're going to lose your main gun, and there's more chance that you might blow off a sponson or something, and then your main gun will still fire. Now this tank here, the Venator, you're basically not only going to be slicing through armor, you're not only going to be shredding super heavies if they're there, all right, but you're also going to be shocking them, all right? So when you score a hit on a unit with this tank, successful hit, essentially the receiving tank that's been fired upon has to fire snapshots the next turn, which is devastating. Because you imagine that they have a Falchion heavy tank destroyer, all right, on the field. It's like 500, nearly 600 points. You shoot them with this thing, it's only 200 points. All right, and then you don't even have to kill him. You just have to hit him, and then that tank is disabled for the rest of the game. You have wiped out, you have taken 600 points off your opponent's army for that turn, if not the other turn. You got 2 of these bad boys, and you can just start piling in on them. It's an absolutely brutal list, okay? So yeah, best tank in the game, hands down. Okay, now you can also take 3 squadrons of these. If you don't take the Deredeo, you don't take the Arcus, all right? But once again, if you want to be playing by yourself for the rest of your life and you want to be playing with people in the spirit of the game, I highly recommend that you don't take 3 squadrons of these, a total of 6. I highly recommend, because this list is already cheese, okay? It's already borderline OP. Yeah, okay, that'll be 405 points. The next thing on the list, the last slot in the heavy support, is a Sakaran Arcus. This is there for more anti-air fire support, right? So you want to make sure that with your Arcus, you're taking on the Sky Spear ammo for anti-air. It comes to 375, okay? I will go through and I will do a deep dive into this unit for all the base stats, all right? I'm not going to go through every stat of every unit in the video. This is for the list, okay? All right, fantastic. And yeah, so that's the list, all right? So wrapping up, we're now at 2,935 points. So you can fill this up with whatever you want. I always like to have a few points to spare to like chuck stuff in, add melter bombs, add Nuncio Voxes to things, add power swords to things, add melter bombs, whatever it is you want to do, okay? So what I'll do for here, I'll add an Apocryphy in, give him a power sword. That brings it up to 2990. The other 10 points you could chuck on a Searchlight or something. That'll be 3,000 points, okay? So as I said at the start of the video, just make sure that if you want to attach the Apocryphy to the to the tactical squad with your Centurion in it, you will have to make sure that he's not in Cataphractii, so you can fit him in the Proteus. And remember, in this list, because you're limited by the Rite of War, all your units must be in a transport. They must be either in a Rhino, they must be in a Proteus, or they must be in a normal Land Raider, okay? So they must be in one of those 3 units, okay? And yeah, or just take some extra pintle mounted weapons, you know, 2 normal combi bolters or something per tank. And that'd be fantastic, okay? So there we go. So there's the list for you, okay? So just to recap, HQ, Sakaran Battle Tank, Warlord. Centurion Cataphractii, Forge Lord to repair your tanks. Troops, 10 Tactical Marines, by 3, Sergeant with Power Fist, Bolters, Artificer Armor, Bolt Pistols that is. 1 times 4 unit Predator Squadron, okay, with Predator Cannons and Volkite Culverins, 2 each. Okay, 3 Land Raiders, alright. Then you got an Apocryphy for the lols, and then you've got 2 Sakaran Venators, a Deredeo, and an Arcus. It doesn't get much more OP than that. Now, if you like this video and you want to check out some of our other videos, we've got a tier list in AOD where we go through, we tier rank the legions. We've also got a Zone Mortalis tier ranking and rules guide. And we've also got bat reps as well, which are really cool. I'll stick the links for those in my comment down below in the comments, so you can check that out. Please like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this content. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very much. And don't forget to share the videos wherever you can, because the more that you share these videos, the more that I'm going to do, the more lists that I'm going to do, the more requests I'm going to do, and the more this channel grows, the more I'm going to get into it, the more back reps we're going to do. It's going to go crazy, all right, for the Emperor or for the War Master, whichever it is. So post-mortem, the strengths of this list covers anti-infantry, anti-tank, anti-air, and anti-Lord of War, and super heavy. Think about it. Anti-infantry, number one, you've got and you're scoring, and you've got plenty of speed and versatility. So anti-infantry, you've got the tactical squads, which have got bolt guns, Fury of the Legion. All right, you've also got the culverins on the Predators. All right, you can also shoot the battle cannons into mid-tier infantry as well, like Terminators, if you've got nothing else to shoot at, because you've got like las cannons everywhere to deal with armor, plus 2 Venatars. Your anti-tank, you've got two Venatars, you've got 4 Predators, you've got 2 Sakarans, you've got it's just nuts. You're anti-tank, okay? You're anti-air because you've got the Deredeo, which is going to do a interception fire, and you've also got the Arcus with anti-air missiles, all right? And your anti-Lord of War super heavy because of the Venatars, all right? Your tacticals will score. You got plenty of speed, all right? Your Venatars and your Sakarans going to be moving 16, all right? So you've got the speed there. You've got the versatility and the mobility. You've got transports in your Land Raiders. You can be picking units up, deploying them wherever it is you want to go, okay? So it's crazy. You can just be moving your troops all around the board all day, every day. Now, there is a weakness to this list. It's not perfect. The weakness is, with this Rite of War, you cannot take a Primarch. You can't do it because of the Force organization slots, okay? The way the Force hierarchy is laid out. Now, you will be a little bit vulnerable to Primarchs here, but this is kind of situational, and that is because, usually people are going to tell you if they're going to run a Primarch, and if they're going to run a Primarch, as I said, just knock something out of this list, chuck in Leviathans, but Primarchs might be an issue against some of your armor, okay, but not a massive issue. It's really not that big of a weakness at all. So that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Brother Stevanius, Command Center Wargaming. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments down below.